Hey, everybody, we are live. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. Most importantly, how are you, Nick? Thank you for coming.
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm just riding the wave of life. Life gives me some waves, and I learn how to surf with each one that comes. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Awesome. That's funny you say that. That is why I named my channel Arcana Shores, because life is like waves, the highs and the lows of the waves. Yeah. That's
That's so
really
cool.
cool. Yeah. You had no idea, and you said that. That's awesome.
It happens all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we
Hmm.
have a lot of people here they've been really anxious for this show, so this is going to be awesome. We're going to get into a lot of topics here. I do want to start, if you don't mind, I want to get your perspective on everything going on with the Trump stuff, the white hats, all that stuff. So, what's your take on, what do you think we're going to see next? There's so much going on.
That's a great question. So, considering I'm a filmmaker, and a lot of my films don't actually have much of a definitive side to them. Like I'm not trying to persuade people into a thing solidly. I'm really trying to expand people's awareness into questioning things so they could do it themselves. But that being said, in the situation with Trump, there's two ways that this could play out in my mind, and there's one way that I really believe will happen. But I've allowed myself not to be so definitive with what our future could be because I've been like that, and I've
Mhm.
experienced what happens internally when I fully believe in a reality that does not manifest. And so, in this case, we we will potentially have Trump in office again, 2024, 2025. And
Yes.
we might see the unraveling of every immense, unfortunate play out that we've seen over the last 4 years. We might see that all just reverse. We might see financial institutions crumble and turn into something that a lot of us have been theorizing about. We might see the music industry crumble, and we might see that happening now with the tip of it with P. Diddy, and then also the Hollywood sector as well. But that's there's a lot to hope for and a lot to feel good about, especially if you've seen my film, The Greatest Show on Earth. Um, but then there's also like this looming dark side where I sometimes wonder, as an inquisitive person, what is what is going on that I don't know. I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out the positive, but what if there was this negative? What if there's some echoes on X where people are theorizing that Flynn is a bad guy, and um, people who follow me on X know how I feel about that, and the possibilities are that Flynn set up Trump with the whole J6 scenario, and that he wants to swoop in and take his place as the forerunner for the 2025. And um, if that happens, then who is he? And has he been playing us this whole time? Is he part of the deep state? And is that how the deep state continues on with their plan? I guess it's almost like we really are in a movie, and in the best movies we've ever seen, we never really know how it's going to end. It's a really crappy movie if you know how it's going to end. And that's why I fall asleep in Marvel movies. I always fall asleep in Marvel movies because I know it's how it's going to end. It's very obvious. They're all
Yeah.
the same. But in this one, there's a level of suspense because it could go in a very dark direction, and I think a lot of people are feeling that out there. And
Yeah.
you can just tell on any social media platform. You can see how angry and anxious and hungry to attack
Yes.
people
I
are.
know. I know,
Yeah.
and it's getting fiery, and we're seeing people still dividing and stuff like that. It's causing more conflict because some people are giving up even on that 17th letter of the alphabet that we know, right? But there's a lot of people giving up on the hope of that, and because they're not seeing arrests, they're not seeing things happening. But it's a playbook, just like you said. It's unpredictable. If things just happened and it was all easy breezy, it would be pretty boring. It would be a very sucky movie, like you
Yeah.
said. you
Yeah.
know. So yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
Do you,
and it's the
yeah.
whole
Go ahead.
process of completely rebuilding something that was so corrupted. In a way, it's kind of like looking at someone who was diagnosed with cancer. It's not really a 1 week fix in order to get rid of it. They go through a lot. And in a
Mhm.
way, I compare this deep state hold in America from the inside out as getting rid of a cancer, and how do you do it correctly along the way? And sometimes the cancer grows in areas that you didn't expect, and so
Yep.
that's why I think there's expectations that are had that don't get fulfilled, because this is not like 1 + 1 = 2.
Right.
It's different. So we'll find out soon enough what's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll find out, or you'll find out. That's what Trump has said in one in some interview out there. You'll find
Yeah.
out. So yeah, it's all coming. It's coming. It's gonna wrap up. We just have to see how they want to play it out. But yeah, it was fun to see what your take on that was. And also, we have some other topics we're going to get into too. I know, and I've heard lots that you love XRP. What is your thoughts on XRP?
I love XRP, and I'm not like a crypto fanboy who just like chooses a team like it's the NFL. I've researched into XRP and why it's the coin to look into if you haven't looked at any, because it's not just a crypto, it's a technology, and the world we're heading into is branching away from this archaic form of banking, and the new way of banking requires technology that can allow not just you and I, but countries to exchange money. And the quicker, the better. Right now, in the old way, which is the SWIFT banking system, you would have trillions. Maybe it is trillions. Maybe it's billions of money waiting in the ether space, on hold in a bank during a transfer every day, not being used. And if that's a concept you can grasp, it means that the speed of the economy around the world is slowed down because people are waiting for money to get to them.
Yep.
And when it's that much money, it's that many businesses, it's that many countries. So when you have a technology like XRP, that weight, the amount of money being held in a cloud, does not happen anymore. It is almost instant. If you want to send 1 million from one country to another, there's no bank that's going to get in the way and say, well, we have to make sure we have all this money first. It's boom.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is so appealing about XRP. You don't get that with Bitcoin. If you were to try and take a Visa with your Bitcoin and go to Whole Foods and buy some salmon, you're going to have to wait there for 30 minutes for the transaction to be verified by 6 or 12 or however many different nodes out there. With XRP, you can have that technology on a card, swipe it, and walk out like it's your regular Visa, which is why Visa and all these banks around the world are looking and already having contracts with Ripple, the company that has XRP, that created XRP. So I tell people, if you wanted to invest in Apple back in the day when they first started, somewhere in the 80s, before they went public, that's what it's like to invest in XRP, because it's made to be a $10,000 coin. That's what it was made to be. And right now it's 50 cents. So it's not too late. And it doesn't matter if 3 months from now it's still 50 cents. Just be patient and watch. If something this valuable will blossom in tremendous ways.
Yeah, and it can happen just, very quickly, just randomly.
Yeah.
And I believe that. I don't know if it's this year or next year. I mean, I pull tarot cards on it, but it's a mix. I see action in June and I see action towards the end of the year. But
I see. Yeah.
yeah, but the biggest, time for it, I don't know. I mean, we've got Mel Carmine, a good friend of mine. He thinks it could be 2025, but I don't know. I feel like it's sooner, but who knows?
I go to this lady who's been helping me see beyond what can be seen, and I asked about XRP, and I said, tell me the season, because I know it's this year, and they said when it's really, really cold, and that made me feel like a few things. Would XRP blossom under a Biden presidency? Hell no.
No.
When Trump comes in, what a big bang for Trump to come in, for XRP to do its thing, and then a new generation of multimillionaires and billionaires to be created to throw a lot of that influx into the economy and help revive it. I think that could really happen. That would be so awesome.
I know. Well, yeah. Hey, let's all manifest that together. That'll be
Okay.
a strong power as a collective if we all manifest that. I like that.
Let's go.
Yep. Let's run with that one. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
We got RG in the chat. He's saying December. Who knows? Could be December. It's cold then.
Very
Yep.
cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Well, cool. Love it. Lots of love in the chat regarding XRP and you. Everybody's here for you. This is great.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, and they're recognizing your strength too. And I wanted to make a comment about that too. You've been through quite a bit, and you're just the way you've handled it with grace, and you don't fire back like someone does. In this, egotistical, just not a good vibe. That's guilty right there. But yeah, you handle yourself with grace, and the way that you talk and speak of that person as well is not anything at all. It's not bad. You're very respectful, even going through so much. And
Thank you.
it's a fake. Like I was in court reporting, so I did look at the document that you shared on your recent show, and I'm like, there's nothing. It's nothing. It's fake. It's a fake case. You're totally. You did nothing wrong. Okay.
Right.
And
Yeah.
as a spiritual intuitive here, I do like you're fine. Just wanted to let you know that, but let you know and recognize, give you recognition for all your strength
Thank
and your
you.
talent. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah,
Aw,
you're very strong and very courageous.
thank you. Um, that's life. That's learning how to take the waves. I guess maybe it was always in me and I didn't realize it until life did beat me down. The only time I ever tried surfing was on the worst surf day ever. And everyone just looked at me and they were like, what is that guy doing out there? And I got beat up pretty hard, but I didn't die. And I
Like,
think everything I've done, like I'm led and God shows me that, hey, if you didn't die, you just got way stronger. It's like a muscle at the gym. You tear it up and it gets stronger. So thanks for saying that. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
of course. Oh, I got a lot of respect for strong minded people physically, I'm sure too, but your mind, very strong. I've been through a lot too. So when I see someone else being strong and handling a grace, I'm like, wow, like it wows me. So good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, lots
Cool.
of support here in the chat. Be like water. Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. That's kind of how you've been handling it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, just great job with everything. And the
Mhm.
haters can hate and go away. We don't like you anyway. yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Haters don't know who I am. That's the thing.
yeah.
They just want something to hate. And
Mhm.
I understand that. I get it. Like, things aren't turning out the way you want them to. Your life might not be as great as you wish. And so it becomes pretty easy to accept a target that someone gives you. Those type of people probably accept a thought that other people give them. They probably don't think a lot on themselves or by themselves. So I get it. It's not personal
Right.
anymore. Like people think I'm a federal agent and post so much stuff about it.
I
Now
know.
I think it's funny,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's really something to see. So
I know.
I forgive
Hmm.
all these losers.
I know. Yep. And that's the key. That's the key to your own peace too. That's where you're peaceful about stuff, and it's great. Just keep on moving forward. Yeah, for sure. Well, awesome. And hey, I want to recognize another thing, your talent, like your filmmaking, your music. So I'm very interested. How did you get started in all of that? Like, did you start as a real young kid, just playing around with it, and then you made magic? Like, how did that start?
Good question. Yeah, it was when I was a kid. My dad was into photography, and my mom was a musician, a really good one. And so I came from Venezuela. I was born in Venezuela, Caracas. Moved here on my first birthday. America was my very first gift, and it was around the time I was 11, 12. My mom would bring home technology from her. She was teaching. She was a teacher, so. Um, the coolest thing she brought home was a computer that had a VCR input in the back. So, that like coaxial thing that you
Yeah,
spin into a TV to get
cool.
cable.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I realized, well, I can film with this camcorder and then put the VHS into there. And then I don't know how as a young kid, I was hacking and downloading software illegally. And some of those
Wow,
softwares like
cool.
Adobe Premiere. Yeah. And so I was editing at a young age and I found it really rewarding to show people what I was making, and so I became fascinated. And at that point, I knew I was going to be a filmmaker growing up. And it took some time to get here, but the majority of my life, I was thinking I was going to be a monk. I thought I was going to be a Buddhist monk. That's really
Cool.
all I cared about, was becoming a
Mhm.
monk and playing music. And at some point, I realized everyone had something and I didn't. And I remember I was like 22, 23 in
Mhm.
Washington at a friend's house, and everyone there had their master's degree. And I was like, I got nothing. I don't even have like $5. And
Aw.
yeah, and then that's when I turned it up a notch and went to school. Went to school for filmmaking and psychology, and then I switched it up, realizing I probably couldn't get paid quick enough. So I became a computer network engineer. And the way I got into these films was basically I got fired for a belief system I had. I was full on Trumper, and
Oh.
the beauty is, though, 6 months before that, I had a near death experience. Sort of. I almost drove off a cliff. I
Ooh,
drove drunk home, which of course don't drive drunk,
don't do that.
but it was like the first time I ever did it, and I think God was guiding me the whole time because. Um, so here's the Prius that I was driving, and it's really banged up on
Ooh.
the side.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Um,
Wow.
yeah. So like I realized all I remember is waking up in my bed. Woke up in my bed, and um, my ex-wife at the time was like, "Hey, you totaled the car." I was like, "No way." And so I looked outside, saw the car, and it was parked nice. And I went to repark it, and I realized it was impossible to turn. It was really hard to turn. Like
Oh.
the axle was broken or something. And
Mhm.
so I ended up trying to figure out where I crashed. And when I did, I just looked for the green paint on a guardrail, and I looked for tall grass that I found under the car. And I saw that location while I was on a shuttle to work. And I just cried because I realized like 4 feet before there was no guardrail, and I would have driven off the cliff. I would have died. The two thoughts I
Wow.
had were that my daughter wouldn't have had me around, and that, hey, you didn't do what you knew you were going to do when you were a kid. You knew you were going to be a filmmaker and a musician. So what are you doing? Why are you wasting time?
Right.
And it was in that moment that I kicked it up a notch. I started going to like UPW from Tony Robbins, and um,
Nice.
really figuring out what blockages of success I had in me. And it all really worked out in a magical way that I was always reading about for other people. It worked out for me, which means that it can work out for anyone if you really want it to happen. It does take a severe amount of desire and dedication to think different thoughts that would be the person you want to be. Like, people around town would think I was crazy or on it. Like, they're like, okay, you're going to become that. I believe you. I
Mhm.
just, I just didn't know it was going to be with documentary films. The way God had it unravel in the beginning was a lot different than I thought.
Yeah, isn't that's a beautiful story. It's transformation. That is awesome. And awakening all in one. Wow.
Yeah,
So
truly.
that's huge. Yeah, it was time to wake you up and say, "Hey, start doing your thing." Cuz really, yeah, those other guys had what, master degrees, yeah, whatever, brainwash degrees. But you had
Yes.
all this talent in art, and that's your purpose, and that's oh my gosh, we got to share screen. You have an upcoming and let me share this real quick. Your Tartarian Part 3 Empire. Tell us about this. This is awesome.
Not many people know about this, and I'm only going to share it really like here, and then maybe
Oh,
I did on X once, but because
mhm.
it's probably going to be made in August. I'm going to find out more in. I have a few meetings. This is a different approach that I'm going at this film compared to the other two in the series. So if
Okay.
you want to watch the Tartarian Empire 1 and 2, you can see that on my Rumble, or you can go to goodlion.tv and watch it on my streaming service. That's where you can find the 61 films I've made in the last 4 years, and a ton of free films if you just want to
Nice.
have a free account. But they're they're my most favorite films. Of course, The Greatest Show on Earth is what I think is my greatest film, but um, the Tartarian films are the most fun to make because it's alternative history. You're not really
Mhm.
like focusing on a dark topic too heavily, and it's more of a excitement and a wonder to realize, like, wow, that's what the world was like,
Yep.
or could have been like. And it's based off of this guy James Lee, who writes these books that you can get for free on his website called aplaintruth.info, and that's a
Ooh.
plane, Plane. they're books like you can get the PDFs, but like these are like the books that like
Oh, nice.
the yeah. So this next one's going to be about Atlantis and Lemuria. It's based off of this book. You can get this book too. Um,
Ooh. Oh, love it.
one
That would be a
one
great book. Yes.
yeah, One World, One America 2.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I've always been fascinated with learning what the truth is about this realm. I don't call it a planet. I don't think it's round. That's
No,
just yeah.
me neither. No,
No,
it's
yeah.
something, but not round. Yeah.
Right, right. I think they're really good at hiding the other lands that are here. There's a reason for it too. One day we'll have it cemented in history that is fact, but for now it's a theory to play with, and some people get real sensitive about it, and I understand. It's one of the first things we're taught, that the Earth is round, and I
Mhm.
mean, you don't. I get it. So, but yeah, that's going to be a great film, and it's going to be different. I can tell you that much. I think I'm going to have some talking heads. There's going to be some people, experts in this kind of field. It's all unraveling still, so like I'll have more information.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's exciting. Yeah, very exciting. And yeah, all of you who haven't checked it out, check out his other films too. Amazing.
Mm.
And you have an Instagram page as well. You have some of your stuff on there. That's pretty cool too.
Yeah, I used to love Instagram. So there's a lot
Yeah.
on there, and I
Yeah.
still kind of post, but I've done a really good job at detoxifying from the the tech world,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
and I do think the venturous activity by in exposing PG-13. We call them PG-13. Um,
Mhm.
I was really, I guess, excessive and laser focused, and got myself so tied into communities that I realized I needed to back out and find myself again. And so since then, I've been like walking a lot, running a lot, doing a lot of like healing things, and yeah, um,
Good. That's
yeah,
awesome. You're just raising your consciousness even more then. Yep.
absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah,
keep
uh-huh.
going for sure. We have a lot of great questions in the chat. They're definitely wanting to know some certain things about dinosaurs. Even why did they lie about dinosaurs? Was it to cover up the truth of the bones of the giants? What's your take on that?
You nailed it, Shell. 100%. Like before, dinosaurs was a word not used before 1850, according to records. You can look that up today.
Mhm.
And the word that was used to describe what we would call a dinosaur was a dragon. And so when you go into like the Tartarian world, you start seeing like old maps that have icons of what we would call mythical creatures. And so like, why are unicorns on a map from the year like 1400?
Yep.
It must mean that at one point these creatures that are mythical actually existed, like a dragon.
Mhm. Yes.
And yeah, that was part of the Smithsonian's attempt to cover that up. And the giants were a real thing. Um, the Admiral Byrd, who flew his ship up to the North Pole and had his ship, his plane taken over by these two spaceships, and he was guided to this area. And this is a well-known pilot, in the military, who writes about seeing a world that he had never thought was possible. He said the mountains looked crystalline, and the colors were unlike any color he's ever seen. And when he came back, he wrote all about it. Just before his plane was taken over and guided, you could hear the recordings of what he was saying. Um, so I don't think there's an air of fabrication here. I think it's a genuine thing. And what would explain that is wherever he went was a realm that had a silicon based environment. And in a silicon based environment, you have the ability for things to grow immensely. So you would have massive trees, you would have massive fruit, you would have massive human. And what's happened, and we get some of the clues from the Book of Enoch with the cutting of the trees. Um, our realm could have been all like that. The earth could have been, well, not could have, it was. And there's clues everywhere. And
Mhm.
so there were giants everywhere. But then, like today, all the cutting of trees or the deforestation and the influx of carbon in the environment, now it's carbon based. There's more carbon than silicon now, which means smaller things. And that's why we're probably the size we are, and why trees are the size they are. And we don't have huge trees like we used to in biblical times. So, and that just makes my head explode with wonder. Like, what was it like? And where
No.
are we headed? Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that just blew me away. That's crazy. But it's so true. Oh my gosh, that just makes perfect sense as to why is everything's different. Oh my goodness. Here's
Right.
another one. Ooh, Atlantis. So this is from In Big. Was Atlantis mainly near Antarctica?
Mm, no. Um, but the the reason it's named that is because it was close. And it's in the Atlantic. So in between Florida and Africa,
Okay.
in that area where there's just ocean, where the Bermuda Triangle is, might be a Stargate or some portal that was left from Atlantis. But of course, these are just theories, because there's in this movie there's a handful of theories that people have tried to figure out where Atlantis is, but
Right.
that's where the majority of people think. Um, so the continent sunk down and water came over. So that's, yeah, it's highly
Interesting.
possible.
Yeah. Yeah, great question, In Big. And yeah, I've done some readings on it too, and I always get that it's in the Atlantic. And I feel the vibration. I'm in South Florida. I feel the vibration here. It's just higher, but you can actually feel a presence. Like, yes, Atlantic, like you could feel that Atlantis was nearby. Yeah.
Heck yeah, I love
Uh-huh.
Florida energy. Florida
Yeah.
energy is the best energy near the equator. It's like Venezuela. I want to live in Florida at some point in my future.
It's gorgeous. It's my favorite place in all, and I've been everywhere, lived a lot of places, but this is home. My soul's home, I call it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful for sure. But yeah, great question, you guys. I'm gonna scroll through and see if they have any more for us. You guys think of some questions. We'll stay on for a little bit. We won't go super long, but
Cool.
yeah, let's see what they've got going on. Meanwhile, I want to look at my banners here. So we did the XRP, we did filmmaking. Also, so about your awakening, it sounds like it happened during that time, that transitional phase in your life. But any more you want to add about your awakening?
Sure.
Mhm.
My awakening really started from having depression as a kid. I went on Accutane when I was like 14, and Accutane can make you very depressed. And I didn't say anything about it. I just went to bed crying every night, not knowing what was going on. And in that kind of suffering, um, there's a resilient nature in humans that makes them want to or will guide them to a solution. So for me, I started reading spiritual books. I started binging on, like, mainly I gravitated toward Buddhism. It was a book called the Dharma of Star Wars that got me into it, and it compared everything about Star Wars to Buddhist concepts. And from there, I started going to temples and meditating, and from there, I started going to meditation retreats. One of the hardest meditation retreat in the world. Prepared me for the J6 experience and going to jail and being in solitary confinement. And that's Vipassana. If there's any Vipassana meditators out there, that
Mhm.
when you meet one, you're like, you did it, you made it through. It's a 10-day retreat where you can't look or talk to anyone, and you're
Wow.
learning a really scientific approach to, in a way, unraveling pent up energy that's been accumulated in this life and in many others. And when you're done, you could actually spend about, throughout the retreat, about, I'd say, 8 hours of meditation a day, or you can just hitch a free ride and do like 3 only, but you get fed for free, you get lodged for free. And I've done it 5 times, and everyone in my life who started seeing me changing started to do it too, because they were
Oh,
wondering, like, how are you so calm, what is going on? And so, yeah, and I'm saying if you have a hard thing going on right now in your life and you have the ability to take 10 days off and get a real practice in that, it
Mhm.
can transform your life. It has. There's a documentary called The Dhamma Brothers. I might be butchering that title, but it's about um, Vipassana meditators teaching inmates on death row how to do Vipassana, and their quality of life, even though they know they're going to die soon, dramatically increases because they're content with the present moment and they don't have
Oh,
much weighing them down. Yeah, it's a great
yeah.
practice. So that
Wow.
really helped.
That's really cool. And wow, so inspiring. Yeah. So you did it you said 5 times, huh?
Yeah,
That's awesome. Wow. Well,
sometimes.
that'll just ultimately, wow, that's the mind. The brain will be so strong after that, right? And you can't look at anybody. You can't talk to anybody.
No, you could try and talk to the teacher.
Mhm.
There's a facilitator, and the teaching happens on a
Mhm.
VHS. It's the
Okay.
SN Goenka is the guy who teaches you how to do a very simple meditation. But yeah, not looking at anyone. Like, you do take breaks and do hikes around the area, but
Mhm.
and the women are on one side, the men on the other. So there's no romance or whatever happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's when I first got locked up for January 6th and they shut the gate. The only thing I could do was imagine that I am now on a retreat, and I am going to do
Mhm.
vipassana until this is over.
Wow.
And it helped in the beginning, and then when I wasn't meditating, I was so calm and safe that people gravitated. So I got great stories from people. I developed deep relationships with people in the time that I was there, and did really kind things for people that other people who've been in jail for a while kind of looked at me and
Mhm.
chuckled, but were so enamored by how I was doing things. I was buying people food, multiple people, lots of people, and doing things that probably most people shouldn't do in jail, like just being too helpful. And
Yeah.
sometimes that can get you in trouble, but
Mhm.
yeah, I made it work because
That's
of that.
awesome. That's such a cool story. That is so cool. Wow. Awesome. Wow. That's like, yeah, in the chat, they're blown away too. 10 days. Wow. Mind blown.
Yeah, it's nuts. And the dreams you have, um, some people do it for 30 days. If you do enough 10 days, you're qualified to do a 30-day in India. And
Ooh.
I remember I came on maybe on my fourth one, and there was a guy who was there, and his eyes were just so light, like light was coming out of them. I
Mhm.
was so attracted to this guy, and not in a gay way, but like I
Yeah.
was just like, whoa,
It's like,
what's up
whoa.
with
Yeah.
that guy? And I
Hmm.
asked him, I said, yo, how long have you been here? And he's like, it was his, I think, fifth month in a row. So he was just, that's what he was doing. He was just being a monk. And it makes sense. You're really cleaning what they call sankharas, which is these past life trapped energies in your body. You're giving it an opportunity to be loved in a way because you're focusing on it, and you're bringing wisdom that it doesn't last. It's like a scanning of your body is basically the meditation,
Uh-huh.
and you come across areas and you just patiently wait for anything to be felt. And if you feel something here, you're like, all right, I feel that. It's a little warm, but this too shall pass. Then you go to the next one. And if it's prickly, okay, it's prickly, but this too shall pass. I'm not going to linger on this. And then you just keep going. And after a
Wow.
while, you have areas in your body that are so intense with either pain or pleasure. And even if it's pleasure, you go, that's pleasure, but this too shall pass. And then you go to the next one. And that's really all you're doing. But this is the truest form, I think, of self love.
Yes, I would think so. And yeah, because you're self-healing your soul, basically. It's a soul cleanse. Wow.
Right. Hmm.
Amazing. This is cool.
Right.
I never even knew about that. It's so cool
So
though.
cool. Yeah, it's like a
Well,
science. That's what I love about it.
it is. Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's a
Here's
lot of, yeah, go ahead. Mhm.
something I'm gonna start doing is creating guided meditations. So I'll be using my voice the way people like it,
Mhm.
and creating 432 hertz music to go with it, and it'll be on Good Lion TV. It'll be on my website for people to have for free. So you can look out for that. I don't know
We
when.
will.
Maybe this summer is when something will
Mhm.
come out. Hmm.
Perfect. Good. I'll be sharing it on my channels and everything. Awesome. Good to know that for
Cool.
sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. And hey, I was just going to ask about your music. That was the next one. So good intro. What now your genre, it's like your own. You've made this your own genre, but what do you call it? Like it's such a mix and it's such good vibes and it's
Hmm.
beautiful, but like what would you call that?
I call it electronic chill wave. When I try and describe it to people, electronic chill wave sums it up
Yep.
because it's electronic devices. I'm playing every instrument. Actually, now I'm actually like really getting my hands on every instrument now. Like I can play every instrument, but in the past, you're using a keyboard to play everything else. But now, I'm I'm experimenting with a different style. It's been so long since I've made an album that I can do that. If sometimes you get stuck in a pattern when you can easily make when I can easily make something. Like I'll get stuck in a pattern and I can make something really quick. But now I've been so enamored by certain artists that I'm pushing myself to grow again so that I'm not stagnant. And I do know it'll come out sounding great, but it's just a learning process again of doing things differently. So I've been spending some time making music in a different way. And then um, I think because of that, it'll be more filled with a lot of emotion and art that I haven't done yet. I'm excited.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna just keep making more and more, and as you evolve, your music evolves. So that's an artist, right there. But so exciting. We're all excited to hear more for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's Venus Looking Glass. Anyone out there who's like, hey, I want to listen,
Mhm.
you can find it on Apple Music or
Yeah.
Spotify, or even when I was in jail, like we would have iHeartRadio and I have it on iHeartRadio. So I'd be able to show
Cool.
people like, hey, I'm not lying. I make music. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I bet they're psyched out and it gave them something to listen to. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Mhm.
Awesome. Yeah. So everyone's loving you in the chat. This is fun. And so, Rumble, are you on YouTube or just Rumble right now?
Just Rumble. I do thank YouTube for firing me. Like I was on YouTube
Yeah.
and it was like October 15th, 2020, when I had 60,000 subscribers on there, and it was great. We had a lot of podcasts. I put my films on there. All the Pervy Woods I had made actually lived on YouTube. Like this was before the censorship came out hard.
Hmm.
And it's what taught me that I could do this for a living because so many people really enjoyed what I was doing. And so, um, they fired me on that day. They killed a lot of people's channels on that day. And in 3 days, I built goodlion.tv, and it's been like that ever since. It's been a yeah, really cool ride. Can I share the screen and show and give people a little tour of
Please,
Good TV?
please, yes. I hope it lets you on your end. If not, I'll have to figure out how to fix it. I'm not that great at experience with that. Oh, yes, it's gonna let you. Perfect. There we
All
go.
right.
Hmm.
Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the front-facing website. Once you get in here and create a free account, sign up free. Once you sign up for free, you can watch everything under the free films, which there's many things.
Hmm.
And then if you become a member, that's a paying member, you can get everything under the Good Line Films section, which is me. There's 61 films that I have here. You can watch some for free or go to instant watch and you don't even have to sign up. You can just watch
Oh,
what I put as my two favorites so far. So, um, but you can also download the app. So right here, download from the App Store or the Google Play Store, and that's just another experience. Because of how things look, but like these are the films I've made over time. I compare myself to being a war photographer, but a war videographer, and I've been making films about everything that's gone on in the past four
yes.
years. And yeah, like this film right here, Trump, Savior of America. It's a 3 hour movie of Trump and his public appearances from
Ooh,
1985 to
love it.
2015. It's so cool. Yeah, but there's just so many, and you'll get a film a month, at least a film a month or every 2 months is what I the rate at which I produce, and so Yeah, I invite you guys to come along. There's some promos under the membership area, so you can save a buck or two, or three or
Cool.
four. Yeah,
Ooh, yeah, all of us, we're going to sign up. Definitely. I would love that Trump thing, all that footage of him, that, because I'm a real Trump girl all the way. Every morning we praise, like we show stuff about Trump, talk about him. So this is the
yeah,
channel. Yeah.
that's awesome. One
Yeah.
last thing about that, if anyone wants a membership and can't afford it,
Mhm.
you can email me at nick at
Aw,
goodlion.tv. That's nick at goodlion.tv. And just let me know, say you found me here and you'd like a free membership. Just create a free account first. That way it's easier for me to upgrade you and I don't have to tell you to create a free account. But yeah, you'd love that Trump film. It's
I
amazing
would.
to see. The media loved Trump so much up until he decided to run. And that's really, it's such a cool thing. Trump, before he started working with his dad and took his success into real estate, he wanted to be a film director.
I
Mhm.
heard that. Yeah, that's very
So
true. Yep.
so cool, and he's seen the greatest show on earth.
I'm sure of it.
His
Yep.
people, his people made sure I knew this. Isn't that
Nice. That's
crazy?
so cool, man. Yeah,
I
I
know.
love Trump. He's just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. How exciting. I'm going to check that out for sure.
Okay.
On my day off, I'm watching it. Thank you so
Cool.
much for bringing that to our attention. We're all going
Hmm.
to go there, and I can add all your links. I will to the description of this video, so that everybody, guys, don't worry. I'll put the link so you can click on it and go do it. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. Anything
Cool.
else you'd like to share with us before we close out?
Yeah.
Mhm.
The latest movie I did is called Pervywood P Diddy Volume One. That came out a few weeks ago, and it's there's going to be a Volume Two coming out next month. But Volume One really has nothing to do with P Diddy at all. And if you're like, who's P Diddy? You'll enjoy the film anyway, because the film goes into, eventually in Volume Two, a lawsuit that P Diddy is in that pretty much paints him as the Epstein of the music industry. And by that, I mean he has tons of rooms and parties at his mansion and a bunch of cameras, like 150 throughout the whole house, capturing all this footage in order to blackmail certain people and then have leverage in that world to do whatever you want. And so the lawsuit revolves around a producer who's hired to help make an album for P. Diddy, and it goes completely south because when you're that corrupt and at the top of your game, you feel like you're invincible. And this producer pretty much sues him for all the stuff that he witnessed. And that makes him look like the Epstein of the music industry. But the Volume One, which you can watch on goodlion.tv, is about what created that foundation for P. Diddy to exist in such a world. And so in Volume One, you can see the first 8 minutes on my Rumble, but I'll just tell you, it's it's basically, in a nutshell, goes over Robert Johnson, the 27 Club, selling your soul to the devil, which then goes into sound frequency being used as a weapon, 440 hertz versus 432 hertz. And then that leads into the Tavistock Institute, which is known for engineering society in a way with psyops and influencing certain types of um, people with specific, I guess you can say, music or movies or beliefs. So that leads into the Boule Society, which is like the Black Freemasonry. And then that leads into the prison for profit system, which I find to be one of the most corrupt systems
Yeah.
ever. And how they hijacked hip hop. They hijacked hip hop by incentivizing rappers in the early 90s to rap about criminal activity, and just
Yeah.
like having mantras being played. If you're listening to someone talking about killing other people, you're going to want to be a thug like that, and that's going to get
Right.
you in jail. And yeah, it's a cool movie. You pretty much get to learn everything I just talked about. And yeah,
Cool.
it'll be free on goodlion.tv on the first.
Okay, on the first. Well, yeah, that's almost here. Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on there
Okay.
now if you want to watch it, though, if you remember.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely will. Yeah, and like I said, we'll put all your links in there so we can all we'll be catching up with you too. Have another show here if you want.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
yeah. And we'll be sharing your stuff. In the mornings,
Cool.
we'll check it out too. And those meditations, those are going to be awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
Well,
love
thanks
to.
so much for coming. Everyone loves you in the chat.
Oh,
And
thanks everyone.
yeah, you're welcome back at any time you'd like. Yeah, you're awesome, and we're all cheering for you.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
you're welcome. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up now, and we'll be back. We'll have another episode. This is episode 1. Yep.
Cool.
All right.
Awesome.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.